My microphone was muted. I didn't know that. Why was my microphone muted? That's like the strangest thing. Is there a reason why my microphone was muted? I don't know, but I'll try it all over again. Welcome to Mentor Monday. If you've never been to Mentor Monday, what is Mentor Monday all about? Well, it's about a weekly microdose of encouragement and inspiration for every one of you who's a current or an aspiring coach. And so thanks for sticking around, even though my microphone wasn't on. I have no idea how that happened. Please excuse my throat. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's laryngitis or exactly what it is, but I've had to use my speaking voice a lot lately. So just bear with me on that. Let me say hello to Brenda, who's joining us from Canada. Welcome. Wesley, who's saying hello. Jasmine, who's joining us from Erie, Pennsylvania. Welcome. Let me see who else I need to say hello to. Michelle, who's joining us from North Carolina. Welcome. There's Rose. So awesome. Tammy joining us from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It is a rough time to be in Alabama with the Tide losing this past weekend. I was pretty shocked about that, but I'm also a huge Southeastern Conference fan. And LSU, hopefully that means that we can actually have a competitive game, or that means that you guys are going to literally beat our brains out in a couple of weeks. So anyway, let's see. Carol's joining us from Jamaica. Awesome. Let's see. Anita, who's joining us from Minnesota. Monica from Edmond, Oklahoma. Hawaii is in the house. Bobby's joining us from Hawaii. Joseph is joining us from Huntsville, Alabama. Alabama's representing tonight, I tell you. Roar is joining us from, peace and blessings from New Jersey. It's from Roar. And there's Audria. Welcome, Audria. Tammy actually says roll Tide. Yes. Awesome. Well, as everyone else is making it in the room, feel free to do us a huge favor. That is, like this post, share it, comment. That tells Facebook and YouTube that we're doing a good job. That's all we ask out of today, that you would at least do that for us. And what we're going to do, just kind of, if nothing else, out of some fun for this month, I really want to spend a few weeks talking to you about the things that will actually haunt your coaching practice. And why is it really important for me to talk about this? Well, I want to talk about a few things over the next few weeks that literally will steal the heart. It will actually kill your momentum. It'll steal your heart. It will disappoint you. It will frustrate you. Sometimes for some coaches, it will actually disappoint them so badly that will actually make them withdraw at times when they really need to be moving forth towards things inside of their business. And of course, what we're going to start with in talking about this week is really the 5 types of clients that you should never coach. Yes, there is such a thing. The interesting thing about the world is we have 7.5 billion people on the planet right now. Like 7.5 billion people. I think that means that there's literally, and I'm not overestimating this thing, there's literally millions of people who could actually be your perfect ideal client that you could be working with. But it's possible if you are a new coach, you've gotten your practice up and going, but especially for you aspiring coaches, one of my important things that I really want to do as a coach trainer is to make sure that you stay on track and you don't make mistakes when you start out. If some of you are making these kinds of mistakes, what I'm really hoping is that when you see this, that if you can identify some of those people, then you need to actually do something about it. Am I telling you to fire a client? I might be, or I might be telling you to really raise up your game when it comes to how you allow yourself to be treated and honored and valued as a coach, because that's what it's really going to come down to. And so with no further delay, and especially because of my throat and how unpredictable it might actually be tonight, let's go ahead and jump in about who are these 5 types of clients that ultimately will haunt your coaching practice unless you do something about it. Here's client number 1. Client number 1 is what I would describe as the sympathy client. And when I say sympathy client, I'm not talking about that they have sympathy. What I'm talking about is some of you coaches who get lured into coaching people because, well, you feel bad for them. And let me say this on the front end. I want all of us to care about people deeply. I want you to have compassion for people when you work with them. Compassion and sympathy are not the same kinds of things, though. I want you to understand that. Compassion means that justice has to be brought in the situation. It also assumes that if you have compassion, that you actually believe in the greatness of the person who is in front of you. And it means that you see something of value, of something of extraordinary worth, and sometimes where someone's potential is unmet or something like that. And what compassion does is that compassion compels you to do something about, to get involved and to help someone actually live into what they were made for. But see, sympathy doesn't actually do that, because sometimes people feel bad about things. As a matter of fact, people will still do something even though they feel bad about it. It's kind of like being in the checkout line at a grocery store and you see a can up there that's for needy kids, or if they ask you to give money, that you're not really, it's not compassion that's driving you, it's actually sympathy, because you're not really involved, but you want to get the guilt off, or you do something not because you necessarily believe in the cause or believe in the person, but that you actually don't want to feel bad anymore. And so it's actually a need to stop feeling bad. Here's also how you can identify it. If you can look at a person and they don't have a sense of excitement, if they don't have belief, if they don't have a hope, if they don't have any momentum for the future, it does not mean that people don't have issues. It doesn't mean that people are fully manifested or anything else. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in them, when you look at that person, do you recognize excitement, hope, and belief for the future? And for you as a coach, when you look at the individual that you're getting ready to coach, do you see life in them, or are they basically functioning as a zombie? Like they're basically just like alive, but they're not really thriving. And in you, you don't have a hope. You don't have an expectation of good for the future. Like sometimes you feel bad for people because you don't see anything really in their life except, wow, I just actually feel bad. I feel sympathy for this person. But again, compassion is, I see the greatness in this person and they just don't know their greatness yet. I can see them fully manifested in the future as this, and this is who they would be. Because listen, sympathy doesn't help people. And if you don't, inside you, now here's the thing, and I'm not saying anything bad about you if you don't have compassion for someone, because we should all have compassion. We should all see the greatness in people. If you don't see that, that's not a person that you should be coaching. It's probably a good reason why you don't see that, because sometimes people are not in the position where they are ready to be coached yet. Feeling bad for someone is not a good reason to coach someone. You know what the reality is that you're not going to get a whole lot of results out of it. You can also see that a coach is showing sympathy for a client when they're spending most of their time trying to encourage, build up, or they're trying to motivate this person as opposed to actually coaching them. That is a dead giveaway that this is a sympathy client when you're spending more of your time doing these kinds of things. Now, should we encourage? Should we build up? Should we motivate our clients? Absolutely. That is something that we should be doing when we're coaching people. But that's not what we're spending the majority of our time doing. See, as a coach, we have to have the lens where I actually believe in the greatness of this person. I believe that they're whole. I believe that they can be pushed without being bent or broken. And you know what? I do motivate. I do build up. I do encourage. It is something that you should be doing on an ongoing basis, but it's not most of your time when you're sitting there because you know why you're having to do that? Because their energy is so low. They're so demotivated, and this is just not a great client relationship. Here's a second type of client that you want to avoid coaching, and I call this the non-committal client. What's a non-committal client? As far as that's concerned, what does it mean to have a non-committal client? Well, what we're really talking about is anytime that you are coaching, or I should say, initiating the coaching relationship with someone, you're at the beginning and you're seeing a client that does not want a long-term commitment. When they come at you and you can see that they are not wanting to engage, they don't want to engage in a longer process. They're looking for an overnight sensation to actually take place. They're expecting that, oh, we're going to have a conversation about this, and you're going to coach me. But what they're really essentially looking for is a onesie or a twosie or a threesie, or you'll hear them say that they want to pay by the session. This is a person that does not want to commit, because it's never about the money. I preach this to my Jumpstart coaches all the time. It is never about the money, because people need to have skin in the game. We want people who are actually committed to the process. That's why I talk to our coaches and I tell them, no, you do not sell 2 or 3 or 4 coaching packages, which don't sell anyway. What you're selling is you're selling transformation. You're selling a solution. Well, I know this about people. When people come to you and there's a result that they have not been able to obtain in their life up to then, I know that there's belief systems in the way. There's self-sabotage that's in the way. I know all of those things. Otherwise, they would have already accomplished it. One session with you, or even Tony Robbins for that matter, is not going to change their life. I'm not going to say that a lot can't happen in one session, but we're talking about programs that are running in someone's life. And sometimes you can't really identify those things until at least 90 days out. I'm looking for a minimum 90-day commitment when it comes to people who come to you that are on the front end being non-committal. They are not going to get good results. You're looking at people who will probably in the coaching relationship stop a lot, and then they will start back up again later. And you'll notice that what will end up happening with these people, because they started the coaching relationship with very little commitment, what will end up happening, it's amazing how things will just start coming up. Like something came up, some other priority came up, like it's amazing. And these are not even emergency kinds of things. What has happened, because they haven't made a heart commitment towards something, what will end up happening is that sessions will get infrequent, because you're going to see them like start canceling, or they're going to reschedule. So you'll end up having gaps between sessions. You know why? Because they're not really committed to their process. They're not really committed towards any particular goal. So it's okay for them to flip-flop. It's okay for them to get flaky. And so you don't want to start working with somebody who's non-committal, because they're truly not going to get results. And you know what? For you, you're going to notice in the coaching relationship that there's no momentum, and it's only a matter of time before they quit completely. Nothing worse for a new coach to see someone who is not committed to their process. And here's what I would tell you. Every one of you, for all of the people that we're talking about, every one of you can discern on the front end. You all are intuitive enough to sense these things about people on the front end, to recognize that the commitment is just not there. Sometimes you'll just feel it in the energy in the air, and you need to call it for what it is. If somebody's looking for onesies and twosies and threesies, you need to have the confidence and the boldness to say, hey, you know what? I'm not that kind of coach. It's not going to get you the results. So when you are ready to commit to this, because they may later, but I don't want to coach this person now. It's not worth my time. It's not worth their time. I don't want the money bad enough. Matter of fact, for me on my end, I don't want the inconsistency when it comes to my income. I want somebody who's going to be there and are committed to the process for a minimum of 3 months, 90 days. Let me give you another type of client, and I call this client the energy vampire. Paul, what are you talking about with the energy vampire? Well, here's what I mean by that. It's a client that makes you feel sucked dry mentally, emotionally, and physically after coaching. As a matter of fact, this can even happen just simply by being in this person's presence. Now, why is this a good sign or sense for those of you who haven't coached a whole lot? Coaching is life-giving. Coaching should not suck you dry. I'm not saying that you won't physically get tired at a certain point of the day, but coaching, whenever you coach somebody and we're in transformation, there's a lot of energy and it's really positive and it's actually very life-giving. Like, here's one of the things that we all really need to know in this is that coaching is life-giving. It's not taxing. When you are doing what you are made to do, what you are called to do, what you're passionate about doing, your calling actually gives life to you. It actually gives energy to you. Like when you coach somebody, you'll actually walk away and feel like, wow, it feels like I just drank a Coke. It feels like I just had an espresso shot or something like that. Like you actually will feel life. Doesn't mean that you won't physically feel a little bit tired if you've coached a couple of people, but what you won't feel is like many of you do in your workplace right now, where you put in all of those hours, there's no passion involved, there is no exchange of life or anything else, and you feel like, man, I'm just drained or I'm not really motivated. Actually, when my kids saw me come home, when I first started coaching people, they knew what I looked like for the previous X amount of years working a job where I had no life, and I would come home and I was kind of unmotivated or whatever for a while, and I needed some kind of a pick me up, like some kind of caffeine shot or something. My kids saw a different dad when I came home after coaching people. And it's the difference. It literally is the difference of having like a lion that you see at a zoo that is yawning and looks bored and rolling around in the sun and everything else. That is a very different creature than if you saw a lion like in the Serengeti or something like that. Like, you might think that lion in the zoo is really cute. I guarantee you in the Serengeti, you are not thinking that lion's cute. You know why? Because it's alive and it's thriving and it's being who it's supposed to be. No one has to tell that lion who to be, and they command attention. There's something in the air. Well, this is what happens when you're coaching someone, because you are fully in your moment. You are fully alive. You are thriving. And this is what the experience is. Contrast this to coaching of energy vampire, and you feel like you got sucked dry. You feel like literally like all of your blood, your adrenaline, like whatever, like it feels like you haven't eaten and you have no energy mentally, emotionally, or physically when you walk away. Now, let me park here for a second because I need to give you some more details about this. When you have an energy vampire, what you'll often see in this person is an excessive fixation on the past that keeps this person from being able to move forward. I want you to listen to what people say, and I want you to hear their hangups and stuck places. It does not mean that we all have our ducks in a row when it comes to bad beliefs, all of that other stuff, because the reality is that all of your clients are going to have some belief systems that need to be addressed and everything else. What we're talking about is an excessive fixation on the past. It's almost like at what point is this person going to move forward? Do they actually want to move forward? Why are we still talking about this thing? Why are we 3 sessions in still talking about this past thing when we're actually trying to move forward? We can tell that this person, it's almost like, does this person actually want to move forward? They might even talk about a particular event that happened in their life. They'll keep cycling through and finding themselves still offended, still hurt, still broken about a particular event in their life. Another thing that you can recognize in an energy vampire is that they have unresolved trauma. They might have a disorder. They have anxiety. They have addictions that are going on in their life. Like if somebody's using drugs, you think that they're excessively drinking or something like that. Listen, every one of us have trauma. Like there's none of us who right now did not suffer some kind of a traumatic event in our life. I'm not saying that their past is perfect. I'm saying that what they've done is that they've dealt with these things and they've come into a certain degree of wholeness. You should be able to recognize if someone truly has unresolved trauma and anxiety. And do some people have anxiety? Well, a lot of people have anxiety. We're not talking about just like generally like, hey, I'm nervous, I'm a little bit fearful or whatever. We're talking about when it's at an excessive level that we know that something is unresolved there. Matter of fact, they will make you feel their anxiety. That's how you're going to know as well that they are an energy vampire. You'll also recognize in them vicious cycles. and you'll see a lack of progress. And you know what they'll keep doing? They'll keep blaming the same old issues and not really moving forward and not really getting traction in their life. Here's another example. Patterns of bad lifestyle choices. If they're binge drinking, or they're just drinking in an excessive amount of excessive way, if you see in their life that there is a pattern of bad choices that are going on, if they can't keep a job, if they're on again, off again with certain kinds of things in their life, if they're really inconsistent in their life and everything else, that's telling me energy vampire. As a matter of fact, what it's actually telling me is a big clue of this, that they actually need healing. They might need a counselor or a therapist, and they don't need a coach at all. They actually need to see a professional about what's going on. And as I've told my coaches many times over, I'll say it again. Most people can be coached. Some people need a counselor or a therapist. Do not try to coach people who you can recognize as an energy vampire. Even if they are saying, well, I just want to work with you, and they get really needy, right? They're all like needy. No, I just want to work with you. And they're trying to backdoor working with a coach when they actually need a counselor or therapist. And they're trying to avoid dealing with the professionals who could actually help them get whole. There's plenty of people in the world who've come to a high degree of wholeness that you could coach. So don't waste your time on energy vampires. Listen, you're not going to fix an energy vampire, and you're not in the business of fixing people. Here's another one you want to avoid: the cheapskate client. What is a cheapskate client? Well, it's somebody that makes you lowball your fee. Now, when I say makes you lowball your fee, I'm not saying that they necessarily just make you lower your fee. And that might happen. But we're talking about the people who are not seeing our value and makes us devalue ourselves, so that we end up lowballing ourselves instead of sticking to what we know our worth is. Because there is a price to pay whenever we coach cheapskate clients. Here's what you're going to expect to see, is that you're going to see someone, this is how you can recognize them. They act like they are broke, but at the same time, you'll see this person spend money on other things that they really do value. See, this is the funny thing that I always see about cheapskate clients, is they will act like they're so poor when it comes to their own transformation. They might even have a story around it. They might have a lot of stories around it. What they'll end up doing is that you'll see in their life that they're spending money on things that you would have never spent on, especially if you are financially in the condition that they act like they are in. So here's what will end up happening. They're going to be a cheapskate client, and they're going to devalue what you do, and you end up giving them a significant discount or lowballing. And here's what happens. They show up to the next coaching session. They got a brand new car out there. Nothing wrong with getting a brand new car, really. But if you were actually committed in priority to your transformation, why not get a used car, save $100 a month, $200 a month, or whatever makes sense like that? Or they come and they got these fancy eyelashes going. They've got the nails done. They did something crazy with their hair. They bought these 150, and this is the worst part. They have no self-awareness on this. They will literally show you their shoes. Look at these new shoes I got. I paid $150 for these things. Oh, I got this new jacket. You'll actually watch them in their life make really bad, in many cases, financial decisions that can create some stress in their life. But at the same time, they're not valuing you, and they're not valuing the transformation. So over time, you're going to end up being resentful if that relationship even lasts very long. Because what will end up happening is that this person who has lowballed you, has convinced you that they have no money or anything else, they're going to start no-showing. You're going to see this person show up late, or they're going to always be rescheduling on you. Because you know why? Because they don't value it. You know why they don't value it? Because they don't have any skin in the game. They value the things. They value the other. What I would say is that sometimes people will make rush decisions. They'll make uninformed decisions. They will make rash decisions about things on their spending and a lot of other kinds of things like that. At the same time that they will do that while they are actually devaluing what you do, that would actually bring transformation in their life. You'll also see this same person will typically be late, or they will be delayed on paying. And you know what they'll have? They'll have the same old story for why they are delayed and why they can't pay you on time. And while everything else is getting paid on time, I can tell you one thing, that car's getting paid on time. That credit card bill for the jacket that they just got from Macy's or whatever, that bill's getting paid on time. And we can't allow ourselves to be lowered to that level. Again, you train people on how you want them to treat you. If you recognize that someone is a cheapskate, and one of the things that you can see is that they actually have money issues, you'll also see that this same person doesn't follow through on work as hard as your higher ticket clients. I wish that I could separate the fact that money, I wish I could say that money didn't matter, and it's not, it doesn't matter, and it doesn't have any impact on whether somebody gets transformation or not. Reality is that people get what they pay for. They show up in a completely different way when they have actually invested their money. When they are cheap, you know what? You not only get what you pay for, what you're going to get paid is also the degree of transformation that you're going to see in their life, because this is how they see you. This is how they regard their transformation. This is how they're going to show up. Now, if they saw you as the latest iPhone and that they could get it that day or whatever, they're going to show up to that appointment in a completely different way. I'll say this as well. I can, with every client that I've ever had, and I haven't had cheapskate clients. I would in a while. I would say with all of these clients, never went the route of the energy vampire. Read that really quickly. Wanted no part of that. Some of the other things, because of my lack of personal value and worth, I actually put up with. Cheapskate client was one of those things as well, that it's like, man, when you don't have personal value and worth for yourself, and you feel like you're starting out in your business in scarcity, you accept people like this. And you just can't accept people like this, because here's what I'll tell you from all my experience, all of those cheapskate clients. I mean, I would literally, just when I started out as a coach, I had nobody talking to me about personal value and worth, how to build a business or anything else. And I can tell you one client who started out, I started out working with, here they're paying like $200 a session. That was amazing. And then I had another client that talked me into their situation and everything else, that they could only afford $60 a session. Well, I'm looking at my life and I'm like, well, I'm just getting started out. I kind of feel bad for this person, and I'm going to believe their story and see if I can help them. You want me to tell you who got the best results out of all of my coaching sessions? Now, they both got results, but the one who was paying the most got extraordinary results compared to this other person. And it was all about commitment. It was all about the energy that they brought to the situation. Matter of fact, sympathy / cheapskate client, I did spend most time trying to no, you can do this. No, I believe in you, and all of this other stuff. And after a certain amount of time, I'm like, dude, this is exhausting. This is not rewarding. And it was the worst thing in my life when I realized that. I looked at my watch and I was like, man, I'm going to have to coach this person in 30 minutes. And I'm like, this sucks. Like I was not doing coaching to work with somebody that I was not excited about working with. And so I immediately, and I was like, this client deserves something better than this as well, because they should have a coach who's excited about them. So you know what I did? I got them to a stopping point. Like I literally was like, hey, you know what? I think that you're really good after this point. They got their business up and going and some of those other things. And I was done, and I learned my lesson. You got to learn your lesson about these things from the actual experience. Oh, and let me say this about cheapskate client as well. Cheapskate client is also the free client as well. Like, free coaching does not help people. So we really need to avoid coaching people who only want freebies out of us. Their transformation happens in the heart. The heart's connected to the wallet. It's a spiritual principle. Why is it a spiritual principle? Because the two most important things in someone's life, and we can pretty much say this everywhere, is their time, because it's finite, right? And their money. Now, money can be, depending on if you're in a tribe in Indonesia or if you're here in the United States. Currency, there's some kind of a currency. There's something that actually represents money. And we know that resources are finite. One way that people see resources is whether or not they can sleep at night, whether they're going to have security needs, food needs, all of those other kinds of basic things actually taken care of, right? Well, the way that people are going to live is that they're going to start out in survival mode when it comes to their money and everything else. Well, here's the thing, is that the thing that you trust the most in your life, the things that are finite resources, and also the thing that you trust, which, what does money actually represent? It represents stability. It represents a lot of different things. Matter of fact, I would venture to say that I know no one who does not have an emotional reaction when you talk about money. Everybody's got an emotional reaction when they talk about money. It's never indifferent. It's either positive or negative, creates anxiety, whatever. But no one, because you know why? Because this is what they have their trust completely wrapped up in. Now, here's the other thing that I'll tell you, is that money also is where we send our resources to, where the greatest investment in our life is going to be based on what we value. So high-speed internet or no internet, or that Hulu subscription, along with their Netflix subscription, along with the water bill, the electric bill, the rent that you're paying, or the mortgage, or whether or not you go out for entertainment and go to movies or rent movies, or whatever you do in your life. What people will do, everybody already knows how much money they have. They know how finite their resources are, but they're actually making a choice with their dollars on what they are most committed to based on what they value. And free never helps anyone, because there needs to be an actual heart commitment that is evidenced by someone actually putting something in the pot that costs them something. Time isn't enough, because sometimes people don't value their time. But here's the interesting thing, is that I noticed that the people who will not make the financial investment also will be no-showers. They'll have the least amount of follow-through, because why should they? Because they've made no investment. But when they will make the investment, now I know that their heart's actually in the process, and that they actually need to make a significant enough investment so that I am not their side money. Like, you need to have clients who actually are paying a dollar amount that they actually feel every month when they're having to pay that thing. Don't cheat people out of their transformation. That's what you do when you go cheapskate, when you go lowball, when you go free coaching. That always steals people's transformation every time. If you want somebody to transform, you've got to get to the heart, and that's what the heart is actually anchored to. So if you want to get the heart engaged, you've got to get the wallet engaged. I'll say my piece on that. Let me pay the bills really quickly, and then I will take some of your questions. For some of you, you've been an aspiring coach. Maybe you've been hearing some things. Maybe you've been in our free course. You like what we've been talking about and everything, but you actually haven't made that commitment. Like, you haven't made that true commitment in your life to go after something. You like talking about it, you like dreaming about it, but you haven't actually taken a step towards it. Well, we've made it as easy as we possibly can at Life Coach Training Institute. Not only is our Life Coach certification course fully online, on demand, and self-paced, and it works in the budget for really everybody. Like, we've made it as affordable as we can. And we've also created an open enrollment where you can literally get enrolled in 90 seconds, any day of the week. And you can actually work at your own pace, even if you're holding down a full-time job and you've got kids and all of those other things. Our Jumpstart program includes almost every program that we have. We actually have an advanced skills training that is not part of Jumpstart, but literally every other program that we have is actually included under Jumpstart. Here's the things that you get. You get your training course out of the way. You get life coach certification. You get your certificate. We also host your credential so that you're actually able to pull it into your website, all of your social media. You can actually pull it into LinkedIn so that people can actually view your credential, and you get a unique credential ID. You get a free listing on lifecoachmatch.com. That is actually our online directory. It's normally $75 a year, but you get it included. We also have a live online weekend bootcamp. Now, we just did one in September, but like I said, we allow you to do things in a self-paced manner. So we also have bootcamp, all of the replays for the past year and a half that you could actually get the training from that weekend. Now, bootcamp goes beyond about 20 hours beyond what we cover in the Life Coach Certification course. 7 powerful sessions. And what we do during that weekend is we build upon what you've already learned in the Life Coach Certification course. There's Q&As at the end of each one of those sessions. We have live coaching role plays. We do all of those things over the course of that weekend. Not only that, you also get Brand Camp. This is our marketing and marketing messaging workshop that is about 12 hours long. We give you a template where basically, as we walk you through the entire weekend, you get all of your marketing messaging together. You discover what your niche is. You get your messaging together. You basically, at the very end, you can take all of your marketing messaging. You can plug it into your website, like the pieces, as far as the wireframe and everything else, you know exactly where everything goes. We show you how to write emails, all of these different things. We give you a ton of tools inside of that. We also show you how to optimize your website for search engines, all of those things. It's included inside of Jumpstart. Jumpstart itself, the program, is about 40 core videos that are the A to Z on how to build your business. Everything from how to discover your target market, your niche, how to sell, how to have an explosive first coaching session. We show you how you put together a weekly strategy for how you're going to be meeting new people, but also nurturing people who are potential clients, as far as inside of your network. All of these things that we cover, whether you're going to be a traditional coach, a hybrid coach, or a fully online coach, we cover all of those bases. We also have workshops, bonus workshops every month that we're not doing boot camp. We do a bonus workshop. We just did one recently on how do you grow your Instagram following. All of that stuff is included. There's literally hundreds of hours of training that are at your fingertips as soon as you enroll. The cost is only $97 a month. $97 a month is buying Starbucks every day for $3.25. It's not a lot of money. Every bit of this is, every bit that I talked about just now is covered. You get access to it immediately for $97, and you pay monthly with a 3-month minimum commitment for Jumpstart. You can cancel anytime after your commitment has been reached, or you can stick around with us. Also, Jumpstart has a live group coaching call. Go live with our students every Wednesday to answer any specific questions so that you never have to do this thing alone. You never have to get stuck. You always have support. And we also give feedback on anything that you're working on. So we'll walk through somebody's website, a whiteboard, all of those things. And also we have an online community so you can connect with other coaches. It's an incredible steal. If you've been looking around at any certification programs, you know this. They never cover business development, and they're usually not led by someone who is a multi-six-figure coach, which is what I am. It's important for you to know that I've been successful in business, and that I've also made over $1 million online. So you also know that if you're trying to build a online coaching practice, we have all of those bases covered, and we would love to support you and walk alongside you. Let me see if there's any questions that anyone has as I am going through here. Robin says, I actually know this type of client. Awesome. Let's see, who else do I need to say hello to really quickly? There's Danielle. How's it going, Danielle? And there is Marilla from California. I'm probably mispronouncing your name. I'm so sad that I'm probably mispronouncing your name. There's Claire from Brooklyn. Awesome. Audrey says, I married an energy vampire. Oh no. Oh man. I'm sorry that I'm laughing, but that's both sad and funny. And anyway, Audrey says, Paul, I feel like you have lived this. I have lived this, and I learned really quickly. Awesome. Robin says, you are hitting cheapskate client on the nail. I had a couple of clients like that. I removed them completely out of my life. I took it as straight disrespect to my values. Absolutely. As well you should. Audrey says, I did one for $30. Oh, you'll learn really quickly with that one, won't you? Oh, let's see. Cassandra from Mississippi Girl and a Missouri World. I lived in Missouri for a while in the Boot Heel, and my mom lives in Mississippi. Spent there just a few weeks ago. Let's see. Who else do I need to say hello to? Soul Charge. Is it Soul Charge? Yeah. Said, I got the sympathetic, non-committal, energy vampire, and cheapskate. Which one did I miss? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, did we not put somebody on there? Did I leave one out? Is it possible that I made a mistake and we left one out? Let me look really quickly. Oh, you know what? I threw two of them together. Actually, I threw freebie client under cheapskate client, but that could be its own client. So my apologies. Thank you for catching that, because that's why I actually jumped ahead and you saw that jumpstart slide. And I'm like, didn't I have freebie client on here? But you caught that. So that's what I would say is that all five are. There's the cheapskate and there's the freebie, but they have some of the same kinds of issues that are going on. And the other ones are energy vampire, non-committal client, and the sympathy client. So good catch on that. That's how I kind of recovered when apparently that slide was not added to the thing, but good job. Hey, any questions before we head out for the day? Remind you, you can enroll in Jumpstart. There's a link inside the description of this video, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. Please do me a huge favor and like this post and share it or comment. That's what tells Facebook and YouTube that we are doing a good job. And my throat's almost gone, but if anybody's got any questions, I'm more than willing to answer them for you. And I'll give it about 15 seconds since you guys are about 15 seconds or 30 seconds behind me. Again, Jumpstart, I would love for you to enroll today. It's going to take about 90 seconds and you've got access to everything. And again, pretty much everything self-paced. Besides joining our live calls, which does not inhibit you being able to move forward, you can enroll, get started today. Even if you work full-time, we have taken literally every one of your excuses away. You know what your excuses might be? Well, I just don't have time. Like, really? Well, it's self-paced. Oh, you don't have that excuse anymore. Oh, well, I don't know if I can afford it. Anybody can come up with $97. Anybody can. Be resourceful. That's a commitment issue. Make the commitment and you can actually do it. Wow, I don't know what I need to do to get started. It's okay. If you're starting from scratch, we help you start from scratch and embark on this. Every how-to is there. We've put it together. I have not gotten a new question from a coach in 5 years. We've always been ahead of the game, whether it comes to technology or social media or any of those kinds of things. We've always been ahead of the game when it comes to those questions, but I've never gotten a new question in 5 years. We've always either been ahead or the content already exists and we've answered the question for you. So you can have all of your questions answered. Roar says, can I start getting new clients while still training? I would say this. Anytime, most coaches aren't starting soon enough. There's nothing that's keeping you from starting to get clients. Here's what I would say. When it comes to the life coach certification part of things, I would get that training out of the way so that you know what foundation you're coming from and you actually know what coaching is and you're coaching people really effectively. That's the only thing there is that I think there's a lot of people who are really good at giving people advice, but that's not what coaching is. And so sometimes because people aren't grounded enough in what coaching really is, they can actually make some mistakes and not get really good results for their clients. And so I would say get that out of the way and also have it really dialed in as to who your ideal client is. But hey, if somebody wanted to start working with you, you got your certification out of the way, somebody wanted to start working with you like next week, we're like, dude, let's do it. Like, let's go. and start making money. Like, yeah, let's just get rolling on that. Audrey says, great information. So glad I found you again. Thank you, Audrey. Soul Charge says, when does the coaching role play happen? Well, if you're in Jumpstart, you actually set that up with other coaches who are a part of it. So when you're in the online community, what we do is we give you an instant feedback tool. If you go into your Jumpstart course, there is a tool in there. And so what you want is to choose someone out of the group, and people are always willing and ready to role play with people. Set up a role play individually with someone, however you want to do it, virtually or whatever. And also have that instant feedback tool so that they're giving you qualified feedback that's based on the core competencies of coaching, so you know what you're strong in and what you need to work on. Also, if you're part of Bootcamp the weekend, we actually do it live during Bootcamp over Zoom. And so you can actually observe people doing it and also practice doing it as well. All right. Well, I am going to head out of here for the night. You're so welcome. I'm going to head out of here for the night. Again, would really appreciate it if you like and share this post. Also, get enrolled today. Like, you can get enrolled in the next 90 seconds, start knocking out your certification and getting your business going before January rolls around. Because listen, we've got October, November, December. January is the number 2 busiest month for the entire year. It's really easy to get clients in January. So if you start today, you can have your business up and going by the time January rolls around, and you can benefit from that influx of people who are just ready for a new start in their life. So listen, I appreciate you guys immensely. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care.